Welcome to the Astroponicist YouTube channel. This is Darren Marchant, your host. Today we're responding to Insider Business's video, Why Spacesuits Are So Expensive. And I think they missed something pretty critical. And I went to other channels, economics channels, and where the guys were talking about how to do accounting and stuff, to see if I could find an official kind of explanation of this, maybe some common wordings, like clear up, make sure I was getting my facts straight. And I didn't find this key issue available in any of those searches. So I'd like to respond to that video by explaining setup cost distributed over the run. Now, a run is when you turn on the factory and you start producing products out the end of the line. That's your run. Now, your run can be 20 units, a unit being a single item. It could be anything, like this pair of pliers. And a pair of pliers is a fairly simple thing. Unless you make it a unique pair of pliers and you only make a couple of them, then it's very expensive. But why is that? Why is it that when we produce more items, the individual items are cheaper, less expensive, without reducing quality, than when we produce a small number and they're very expensive, without improving quality? Well, it all has to do with a necessary function of manufacturing called setup. Now, setup is when you lay out all the machines and get them arranged so that you can quickly and efficiently make the same component over and over again. Now, that setup cost is a single time kind of cost. Once you've done the setup, you don't have to really adjust it very much. You do have to, as the run progresses, there's jigs and dies. There's a profession called a tool and die maker that's critical to that very thing. The tool and die maker goes into the factory floor when a new product line is being proposed, and he works out with the designing documents how to go about manufacturing this product. Sets up the machines, adjusts them all, builds the jigs and the dies and the presses and all of these things in the conveyor belts, and designs that whole factory line. And once that's done, that cost goes to the accounting department. And then as the units are produced, that cost is a very legitimate part of the real cost per unit. Now, other costs that are commonly mentioned in these videos, like the cost of the factory, the rent or lease on the property, rent or lease of machinery, materials, all these kinds of things are legitimate costs, but they're categorized differently and for good reasons. But the actual cost of producing this pair of pliers is partly how much it costs to set up the equipment to do all of the little things that you have to do to end up with one of these. And then how many times do you run that so that you get many, many of these? Then you take the setup cost and you divide it by the number of items you produce. And that is the strongest indicator of why something is so expensive. But let's go and look at the spacesuits. The vast majority of the components of the spacesuits are items that are not produced anywhere else in society. The gloves, the shoulders, the elbows, the body components, the life support systems are all very unique. They're not standardized. There's not a factory floor producing lots and lots of these spacesuits. And so the primary cost of the spacesuits is the setup cost. The design of the equipment, the setup of the manufacturing equipment, and they made like 10 of them the last time they went about doing it. 10 or 15, I don't remember. That is a minuscule number of units to divide that tremendous multi-billions of dollars of cost over. Now, some of that gets subsidized, some of that's just tax dollars. They just kind of ignore that it's in there, all that kind of thing. But if you were going to manufacture spacesuits like the newest ones that just came out, the really cool ones for the Artemis program, you could actually lower the cost per spacesuit tremendously by making lots of them. Well, why would you make a lot of them? Well, that's a really interesting question, isn't it? Thank you. This is Darren Marchant for The Astroponicist.